Haste is a game all about going fast. Your character Zoe is fast, the sweeping wave of destruction in each level is fast, and the game itself is also over very quickly. But to my pleasant surprise, what seemed at first like nothing more than a neat little game to go at the bottom of Family Guy clips actually had a lot more to offer.
This is the copy I gave to Stewie.
In the world of Haste, you play as Zoe, a girl who used to spend her time delivering letters between people, as she had the power to somehow enter portals and jump between different dimensions. These portals send her to a different world and mess with time. Sometimes she leaves someone for hours, but to them it would feel like minutes. Then one day, mysterious dark waves started spreading over different worlds, destroying everything they covered, much like the storm in a hit video game. So now Zoe kept running between different worlds, but with the intent to find a way to stop the worlds being destroyed. In the game you can run super quickly, and the controls are very simple. You run automatically and can't jump, but can hold a button to quickly plummet to the ground. You'll need to move quickly to avoid the storm, and you speed up by hitting perfect landings. Your landing depends on the angle of the ground and your trajectory. Land in such a way that you seamlessly start running on the ground or just skim over it, and you'll get a perfect landing and a speed boost. If you land in such a way that you're more perpendicular to the ground, however, and you'll only get an okay landing, or even a bad one. This means that in order to maintain speed, you need to keep going to the ground and getting perfect landings, otherwise the storm will catch up with you. To help you, you get tools and items. There's 4 different tools in the game, and you can only equip one at a time. There's the surfboard, poncho, grappling hook, and hourglass. The surfboard is the one you start with and makes you travel forwards much quicker, and also gives you a little elevation, but not much. The poncho is pretty simple but very good. If used, it gives you a boost sort of upwards. It's not directly up, but more like 90 degrees up from the direction you're going, like in the diagram I so meticulously created. This means you can use it to stay in the air longer or get quick vertical height, or just give you a small upwards boost to change your trajectory slightly and allow you to get more perfect landings. The grappling hook is pretty versatile. You aim it at something nearby and it yanks you forwards, slightly towards your target. If aimed upwards, it can get you some good height, or if forwards, it can give you a speed boost. The problem with it is that it has very little range and doesn't give you a crazy boost either, so it kind of seems just like a worse poncho. Also, trying to aim this thing with everything else going on is not easy. Finally, there's the hourglass. This one is super unique from the other tools. When you use it, time slows down and a meter starts to fill up. When you release it, you're launched in the direction you're facing, with the meter dictating the boost you get. This one is super strong as it can be used to completely change your direction or get a good speed boost, although to balance this it requires a lot of energy. Energy in this game is generated when you get perfect or okay landings, with perfect ones giving you a lot more. This energy is then used by your tools. The poncho and grappling hook require a certain fixed amount per use, whilst the surfboard and hourglass just use energy as long as you're using them. Energy can also be generated by certain items you can have. Items are buffs to your character that you can buy or get given in runs, which make a huge difference on your speed and energy. Some are pretty basic, like giving you health when you enter a level or energy over time, but others are more interesting, like one of my favorites, the rocket, which gives you a huge speed boost for 5 seconds, but makes you turn twice as slowly. Or the lucky star, which means every time you pick up a star, for half a second you become invincible. The way a run works is you enter a shard, which are this game's versions of levels or difficulties. There's 10 in total and 1 bonus shard for endless mode. In each shard you start with no items, just the tool you picked. Then throughout the shard you collect sparks, which are the currency of haste. In between levels you find other stuff like campfire worlds, which heal you to full and restore a heart, and give you some dialogue from one of the game's characters. The shops are where you can buy items with your sparks to decide your build, and sometimes you can speak with a scientist or other NPCs that can hang out in the shop area. Finally, there's the challenge levels, which are mini levels with different requirements, like raiding an agency spark storehouse or spreading colour to a black and white world. There's also the optional hard levels, which take place in a dangerous map with lots of tricky obstacles, but give you a reward for beating them. Once you reach the end of the shard, you get to the boss. First there's the jumper. This boss launches stuff at you from far away until you manage to run into it, which you'll then jump across the map again. This boss is pretty easy, and the only tricky part are the waves of ground that sometimes appear. You can't always easily get vertical height, so sometimes you just have to tank the hit from these. Next is my favorite boss, the convoy. This is a huge moving machine made up of many segments with tons of defenses trying to shoot you and stop you getting to its tail. Once you reach the end, you have to go through its inside until you pop out the front, then repeat this a few times. It's fun to dodge all the different lasers, but since you can so quickly reach the back of the convoy, this boss is definitely the easiest of the three. Lastly, there's the snake. This boss gave me the most trouble out of anything in the game. It travels quickly around the map in a vertical snake-like movement, which means you can try to ride along its back, although this is difficult due to obstacles along the middle and it not giving you very good angles to get perfect landings. The snake is the final normal boss of the game on Shard 9, and I died twice to this boss. It rains down so many projectiles, all with big lingering AoEs, and can launch a mini nuke which can be difficult to avoid. As well as this, the thing moves super fast and trying to get on top of its head is tricky. Luckily for me, on the winning run I had a busted item that allowed me to just teleport right onto its head. The bosses in this game are fun but get a bit repetitive. You fight each boss 3 times with only some tweaks, and if you lose a life during the fight, the boss also gets all its health back, so it can really drag on a lot. Still though, I imagine it's hard to make many different bosses when all the player can do is run. There's lots of different characters in this game. They're all clearly developed with the Overwatch diversity space method in mind. Each character seems like someone ripped straight out of Concord and are extremely one-dimensional. There's the brooding tall lady who wants to protect Zoe, the foolishly overconfident captain who thinks he's the leader of the crew, and a shriveled old lady who's apparently very wise. There's only 2 interesting characters. First, Ava, who is from the start pretty obviously somehow related to Zoe, as every character in this game looks completely different except for those 2. Ava is the leader of the agency, who at first seem to be the bad guys destroying the different worlds for some reason. You later find out Zoe is actually just a different version of Ava, which is interesting but not at all a surprise. The other interesting character is the Wraith. At first he seems like an enemy of some kind, but Zoe quickly realizes that he's friendly. He seems to be incredibly powerful as he is able to manipulate time, and he has some sort of love for nature and harmony. Wait a minute. In the story, you slowly are told that the reason for the storm destroying every world is just that the universe is coming to its natural end, and to begin with, your quest is to try and stop it. Once you've spoken with Ava a few times, it becomes clear that Ava actually can stop the storm by resetting the universe. This means the universe isn't destroyed, but instead goes back to how it was before the end times, although slightly different, as not all of the previous universe can be replicated perfectly. This is why someone like Zoe exists, as they're simply an echo of Ava, which means they're a new version of her. Before I spoil the ending, there's a few issues I have with the game that I need to talk about. First of all, the game is very short. It cost me £16 and I finished it in just over 7 hours. This wouldn't be a problem if it felt like there was tons of content I hadn't seen yet, but even in just those 7 hours I'd used every tool, seen every character, and I'd played through the same level designs and bosses countless times. Yet despite how short the game is, each shard feels too long. Each shard is made up of about 10 normal levels and about 10 special ones, being campfires, shops, etc. Since the levels get so repetitive so quickly, these shards drag on quite a bit, and there's no reason there has to be 9 normal ones when there's only 3 bosses, and only a handful of different areas and challenge missions. The items in this game suffer from being very slowly unlocked. It seems after completing each run you unlock a couple new ones, and by the time I had beaten the game I'd only unlocked about half. This problem is only made worse by the fact the vast majority of locked ones are high rarity, which appear less in shops, so despite there being a good amount of items, you'll usually just see the same basic ones every run. Yes, if I grinded a ton there'd be more unlocked, but why should I grind for hours to unlock more items once I've already beaten the game? If there was even just 4 bosses with each only repeating once, maybe a couple of different level gimmicks and a better item system, that alone would make a huge difference. But right now, due to the lack of content and how quickly the game was over, it feels like I just played the demo of a larger game. Sorry for being overly negative, and don't get me wrong, Haste was great fun to play, but at the moment I don't know if I would recommend paying full price for it. If there's more content added in future though, it definitely will be worth it. Time to end off the story. Once you beat the 9 basic shards, you unlock the final one, which is the hardest, and has a unique boss, if you could call it that. Throughout this shard and the 9th one as well, Ava talks to you a lot, trying to stop you from preventing her plan of resetting the world, and your friends encourage you to keep going and not give up your mission. Finally, you reach the final boss, which is the agency machine that will be used to reset the world. To destroy it, you have to take out its engines, which was 1,000,000 times easier than the Shard 9 snake boss. And Ava makes a final plea to try and stop you from seeing what lies beyond the end of the universe. And that's all there is to say about Haste Broken Worlds. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.